Hello, I'm Tanya, the host of The Comeback Seat, where every setback deserves a comeback. And today I have my grade school friend, Eric. I know him as Eric Stiegel, but Eric Salazar.
Yes.
Yes, and he is going to be in the seat today. He has quite the journey, quite the story, quite the comeback, and every journey is different. Eric, if we need to stop at any point, you just let me know, and we'll take a breather, or we just roll right through it.
Yeah.
And a little bit backstory, I met him in the 3rd or 4th grade. We grew up in the same neighborhood. He was just telling me about his teacher crush, Miss Burr. Well, there was many boys that had a crush on her. And hopefully she never got in trouble. It wasn't a thing back then like now.
Yeah.
Anywho, and we grew up in the same neighborhood, and we've been friends for many years, and recently connected again and had coffee a couple times, or once, lunch once, coffee once. No, twice.
Several times.
Yeah, Taproot, and then yeah. So it's good to catch up with him. And so, Eric, introduce yourself to the listeners. Who you are now? I guess I introduced you, but just introduce yourself again, I guess.
Eric Salazar. I don't know if you need my age or I don't know.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 51.
And what do you do for a living?
I own and operate a group home, care home ish for disabled individuals and older folks who are disabled as well.
Okay. And tell me about your life growing up before your senior year. Talk about how your family dynamics were, what you were like as a young man, young kid, teenager.
Well, I didn't grow up in church necessarily or nothing like that. I don't know how much you want to hear about the God portion of my life or not, but
well, back then you did not have a relationship with God.
No.
And you grew up poverty.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Poverty as in food stamps, powdered milk, the kind that you have to mix water into the powder and get milk. Government cheese, tough ramen, spam wasn't so expensive back then, so a lot of spam.
And you were one of 7 kids.
One of 5 kids.
One of 5 kids, and your mom and dad.
In the family dynamic.
7 in the pack.
Yeah.
And how was your relationships with your mom and dad and your siblings?
My dad was sort of the disciplinarian, so he really brought out the fear of God out of us kids to do right and to behave. And my mom was kind of the one we can talk to, so to speak, because we felt okay with her and we wouldn't get in trouble, so to speak. And I'm speaking for myself, not my siblings.
Sure.
So
you had a good relationship with them. Did your dad, where did he work out at the time? Growing up?
Growing up, he worked at G&B battery plant out here in West Salem.
Okay.
In fact, it's no longer there. But he worked there for many, many years.
And did your mom, did she?
My mom worked at, there's a cannery in Brooks.
I forget the name of it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called either, but she worked there for like 20 plus years.
So she had a family?
Yeah.
And then she worked full time?
Yep.
And are you close with all your siblings?
No.
So there's a different episode on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one that I remember is Chris, and he was older than you, like a year or 2.
Yeah, he's like a year and a half older than me.
Okay. You 2 are the ones that I mainly remember growing up and hanging out with and what have you. So again, maybe a different episode. And then you go to school and you feel like you're not in the in crowd necessarily because of your clothing, because of...
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I'll take you through grade school.
Sure.
So I grew up wearing clothes from the Goodwill, green rustler pants. I don't know what kind of shirts I would wear, but track tennis shoes from Kmart while everyone else was wearing Nikes and Levi pants and straight teeth, really,
Preppy?
yeah, preppy. Yeah.
And you and you would
was,
and you'd constantly compare yourself with everyone?
yeah.
Every day that was a daily battle for you in your head.
Yep.
I'm assuming
In my
going
head.
yeah, and that's all throughout grade school, 6
Yep.
years. Middle school, did it change at all? You started developing more friends?
Yeah. I started to know more friends in middle school. Um, and kind of sort of get popular,
Mhm.
so to speak.
So it built character for you to
Yeah.
become this middle school. Would you say you were a punk skater?
Skater.
Okay, skater.
Yeah.
You became a skater and you hung out with some friends and you started socializing a lot more, which what I remember is you being friends with everyone.
Yeah.
Girls, boys, everything, teachers,
Yep.
superiors. So you go through middle school, things are getting better. Did we have a skate park back then?
No.
Where did you go skating? Just on the road and
Yeah.
parking
Just
lots
the
and
neighborhoods.
yeah.
The Albertsons parking lot, um, across from what is Safeway now, um, next to Bob's Burger, and that swimming place, Hydro Tubes.
Oh, the hydro tubes. That was the
Bring
first
back
tubes.
days.
The old days, and that was years ago. The tubes were the thing. They hurt so bad going down. They destroyed people. They weren't, we didn't even have inspections back then, I don't think, to close them down.
Yeah.
So you were a skater, and then did you get involved with any sports?
Yes, I did. My eighth grade year, I got involved with wrestling.
And then you started wrestling, and did you go do that in high school as well?
Yep.
So you were a wrestler, and then you also were a skater. You get into McNary High School. You go to high school at
Yep.
this point.
Yep.
And what is life like when you're entering freshman year into a
Freshman
huge
year, it was kind of different because you had to know people who were already there in high school to have friends.
Did your brother help you with that?
No.
Oh, he beat you up and
Well,
put you in
yeah,
a locker.
so to speak, he did, but I would only know his friends when I was in ninth grade, freshman.
And were you comparing yourself still at
Oh,
this
yeah,
point?
yeah.
So you still don't feel like you're Eric, or even though you're popular, hanging out with popular kids and friends with everyone, you still don't feel like
Well, I wasn't that popular yet.
okay. But you still had a lot of friends and still lived in your mental head of this comparing
Yeah.
and you're not good enough,
Yeah.
basically. So then sophomore year comes around, sophomore, junior year. What were those years like for you?
By then I knew everyone.
Okay, so you built your popularity
Yeah.
and still felt like,
No, I mean,
did you feel better at this point? Or you
yeah, I
still,
mean, I was mainly going to high school to hang out during those years.
you didn't care about academics or
Oh,
anything? No.
yeah, no.
Yeah. And then,
Can for sucking.
yeah, you didn't have a favorite subject?
Uh, Health.
Health,
Yeah.
okay. And then you're going through school life. Are you working at this point in junior year? Did you start working?
I had a job at Fry's Ross grocery store
Uh-huh.
in high school.
Okay.
My sophomore or junior year. Yeah, I had a job. Yeah.
And then you get your license,
Yep.
16.
Yeah. No. I didn't get my license till I was 17.
And did anything happen when you were 17 with your license?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Um, I was hanging out at Beamer's, which was a um like a underage hip hop um dance club
Sure.
in Corvallis. And what us young people used to do there is we would go there with alcohol
Mm-hmm.
that we got prior to the Friday or Saturday night, and we would drink it all alcohol before we went into the club. So one night on a Saturday night, I go there with a buddy of mine, and we got several bottles of when I say several bottles, I mean like 4 or 5 or 6 bottles of Boone's Treasury
Oh yeah,
wine,
that was the
which
thing.
was my favorite at the time. So I downed in the parking lot of Beamer's like at least 3 bottles of that before going in. And I remember getting told to move my car from where it was parked at. So I just, without thinking, went to my car, and the club was on a one-way street. So the traffic was going out that way, this way, and there was a street
A one
going,
way.
it was on a corner.
Okay.
So I got in my car to move it, and I just went like 20 feet going the wrong direction so I can turn on that other street.
Just
And
trying to take a little shortcut.
yeah, yeah,
No big deal.
yeah.
Few curves, whatever.
But unbeknownst to me, there was a cop sitting outside, down the road, watching the parking lot, seeing what he can see of anyone doing anything wrong. Because all the kids were outside in the parking lot
Drinking.
drinking and tailgating,
Sure.
more or less, before they went. So I get in the car, exited out of the parking lot, went up 20, 30 feet, maybe max, down the wrong way, and turned into the side street, and went back into the parking lot. As I went back into the parking lot, I saw these red and blue lights flashing.
Yeah.
And so, oh man,
Your heart sank.
my life was over.
Did you have your dad's picture in your head, like yelling
Oh,
at you?
yeah.
Yeah.
So they took me to jail.
Was that your first jail
Oh,
experience?
yeah. First time in jail. Um, so at like 2 o'clock in the morning, they call my parents, and my parents had to go and travel down to Corvallis from Salem or Kaiser, and get me. And I lost my license as soon as I got it, more or less.
Sure.
Um, and that's not all the legal trouble I get into because of hanging out with the wrong crowd. I ended up hanging out with a gang member. He became a good friend of mine, and hanging out with that cat got me charges after charges. Just hanging out with him because he would commit crimes, and I was with him, so I got charged with
Accessory or whatever.
accessory
Okay.
to the crime, and he robbed a kid we went to high school with, Jason Howard. I
Okay.
don't know if you remember that name or not, but
We won't.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was with him.
Yeah.
So
You were a part of it.
that kid recognized me. So to get to that guy that robbed him, he said, "Well, hey, Eric Stiegel was there." So I got charged with robbery and assault and a few other different crimes. Felony crimes. I was accessory ish of, and
So you went from skateboard Eric, wrestling Eric, to this life of destruction, basically, within the high school years.
Yeah.
Going back to Beamers real quick, it just amazes me that I'm sure you and I danced there several nights, but anyways, it amazes me that this 18 and over club, or was it 16? I forget. Anywho, most of the kids were drinking. Most of the kids had vodka and orange juice in the back seat or boons. And the owners. Like back then, the owners still let you in and let you get in your car and go. I mean, it's just like that. I mean, we were making, of course, a lot of
Yeah.
us were making bad choices and going and driving and doing all this. And the cops literally hung out there because they knew. But I don't even know what happened to those owners of Beamers back then, because I think there's no way you could get away with that now.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And I wish they wouldn't have gotten away with it back then, but then it would have saved you maybe a ticket. But we all make stupid, silly things back then. So you went through this whole friendship of this toxic friendship, as far as I'm hearing. He was a bad dude to be around. And then what led to the day you decide to take your life?
Oh, well, 2 weeks before my court date on all those charges, I got the news that this other guy who I was with, who got the same charges as me, but worse because he actually committed the crimes. Um, I got word that he got 5 years in prison for his involvement. So I was thinking, well,
You're
I'm gonna
going
get
to
the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and here I am, this white kid. The guy I got in trouble with was black, and he was a gang member. Um, and I'm just making an assumption here, that he could probably handle being in prison and acclimating to the prison life better than this white kid.
Okay.
So
you were scared to go to prison,
I
basically.
was scared to death
Yeah.
about going to prison. I mean,
And you didn't know you were,
death.
yeah, literally, but you didn't know you would go to prison. You were just thinking of all these horror
Yeah,
stories.
I mean,
If he got it, you're accessory to
Yeah.
it. So why wouldn't you be
Yeah.
going at least
Yeah.
to 1 or 2 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
did you get any?
So my thinking was, and there's a couple more different reasons that I want to in my life. Um, that was This is my senior year, and I discovered that I didn't have enough credits to even walk with my class, and I didn't want my family or friends to know this information. So here I am. I just lost my driver's license because of a DUI. I'm facing all these charges, and to top it off, I'm not going to graduate high school. And I felt at the time that I had this big persona to um,
To not let everyone down.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
But
I didn't want to let my family or friends down.
yeah. So you have all this pressure on you.
Yeah.
You have the law, you have your family, you have friends, you have the school, you got all these targets on you, and it's just weighing you down. And you don't know about God yet. You don't have the
No.
faith yet. You don't have, well, I can give it to someone.
Yeah.
Or you don't have the counselor help, or you don't have any avenues to go
And
and get the help.
I thought about since then, as many kids, the average kid has the tools in their tool belt in life to help you navigate decisions about once you take your own life,
Yeah.
or the avenues of what I can do or who I can reach out to. With me, I didn't have any of those tools. I thought just that if I committed suicide,
Yeah.
I can be reincarnated into a butterfly and get that do over in life, that I was seeking. So I came up with this plan that before I went to court on all those charges,
You were going to end your life.
yeah, I was gonna end it all.
Okay. So you're at home. Where do you get the,
I got the gun from the guy that
you already knew that you wanted, okay, you already knew you wanted to commit suicide by a gun.
Yeah.
Through shooting yourself. So you got it through the guy who is now sitting in prison. Okay, go ahead, carry on. Sorry to interrupt.
I don't know where I was.
So you think the night before you're doing this, what are your thoughts? The night before.
This is a done deal. I got no way out.
You want to exit the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Because
you're not thinking
I'm not going to prison.
and you're not thinking of your mom and dad. You're not
No,
thinking you're just
no,
thinking,
no.
I need to get that.
Dude, I'm thinking of myself and my situation.
Okay. So you go to bed.
Or father or friends or brothers and sisters
Nothing. Yeah.
came into play with my thinking process.
And you're in your bedroom.
Yeah. And my bedroom was a makeshift room that was converted into a room from a shed that was outside the house.
Okay.
So it wasn't attached to the house. So I went in there with a gun, sat on the sofa playing slow music to get myself into the mood of um, doing what I thought I had to do.
Were you thinking of any pain? Were you thinking of you were just thinking I'm done?
Yeah, I was thinking, well, this is my only hope.
Did you write any notes at that point?
Yep. Actually, I was dating a foreign exchange student from Sweden at the time, and we had to kind of break up before she went home because she had to go home.
Yeah.
So we couldn't be together anymore. So that was another thing with
A heartache.
shoulders.
Yeah, you had a heartache.
Yeah. So I remember writing her a note, and giving her all my belongings or a T-shirt or something like that. I don't know. Um, but I wrote her a note in my suicide note of, and I sat down, put the gun next to me, and thought about my life for hours. I did that, and so about 9:30 or 9:30, 10 o'clock, if I recall right, I picked up the handgun and I said, "This is it. I gotta do this." So I stuck it up to my head, counted down from five, four, three, and on one, I was gonna shoot myself. Three, two, three, two, one, and I couldn't do it. So I put the gun down again next to me, and I started crying again. And I waited till all the tears were cried out, which is about another half hour. Um, so at 10:30 ish, I stuck that gun up to my head again. Five, four, three, two, one, bang, and I did it.
Do you remember feeling? Do you remember that feeling, the hand and the gun and that click, that pulling the trigger? Do you remember that?
Yep.
And do you remember the feeling of what you felt when it hit your head in the head, the bullet?
It was lights out, and as I moved on, um, um, a lot of people would ask me, Eric, did it hurt when you shot yourself? And I can only answer that in this way. Um, well, ask my mom if it hurt her to see me when she found me.
Oh gosh. Were they in the yeah,
and full of my own blood.
that hurts even more, huh?
I mean, if you want to go that far,
Yeah.
ask me how my rehab went, how hard it was to learn how to speak again, how to walk again, how to balance myself again, how I eat and swallow correctly.
Yeah, there's lifetime situations going on due to that one trigger.
Yeah.
So going back, so you
No.
yeah. I understand, and we'll get to that point.
Yeah.
But you pretty much fell to the ground, and then was your family inside the house?
Yes.
And did they
They
hear?
hear nothing.
They didn't hear
Either.
anything. Okay.
So um the next day, as I was laying there lifeless, I locked the door from inside so no one can get in. Even with a key, they couldn't get in because I was locked from the inside. And I knew that. That's why I locked it from the inside. To keep anyone that heard me from getting to me. So what I remember hearing is that my brother was the first one to knock on my door, wrestle me out of bed, and he got no answer. So once he started really knocking on the door loudly, he went to the window and started knocked on the window. And once he didn't hear anyone in there, he knew something was wrong. So he went and got my mother, and they both came out to the room to knock on the door. And my brother ultimately, Chris, the one ultimately knocked down the door, and they found me laying in a pool of my own blood on the sofa, slumped over.
Mm.
And so they would call 911, and my brother was tasked with calling 911, and I recall hearing that he called 119 over and over and over because he was so
He was in a panic,
yeah
in a
shocked.
state of shock. Yeah,
Yeah, and couldn't get the 911 in his brain.
sure.
So he ended up calling 119 over and over and over. I
And back then we didn't have SOS or these emergency quick numbers. You're going to he's running to a landline, I'm assuming, inside his house
yeah. Oh,
to make a call.
yep.
And
Cell phones at the time.
no cell phones. And then he finally gets a hold of 911. And what happens? This is how many hours later are you in the room?
9:30 ish. I was found, and
The next morning.
the next morning,
Okay.
the next day, and I recall seeing the clock at 10:30 just before I shot myself. So roughly
11 hours.
about 11 hours.
Okay.
So
Could they feel a pulse on you when?
no. So the EMS get there and they find, I mean, no pulse. They were about to call me DOA. Um, but one of the EMS workers finally found a slight pulse. And it ended up being, I was told years later, that my heart rate slowed down to 3 to 4 beats a minute then.
That's really low.
So they load me up into the ambulance, get me to the hospital, and um, they get me hooked up to every machine you can possibly be hooked up to. And is what I was told is the surgeon at the time came out and talked to my dad and said, "Hey, listen, sir, this is what we got going on. Um, your son is in need of emergency surgery right now, but what comes with that is he might not even live through the surgery. And if he does live through the surgery, he'll go into a coma. Once he goes into a coma, he might not ever come out of that coma. But let's say he does come out of the coma, there's a good chance he'll be he'll be a vegetable for the rest of his days. And you, sir, will have to take care of him for the rest of your days or the rest of his,
Mm.
whichever comes first. So, sir, what should we do here in the situation? Shall we just let him go, or should we do whatever we could to save his life?" And my dad said, you do whatever you have to do to save my son's life. So they took me to surgery. I was told that I was in surgery for like 8 or 9 hours. Uh,
What were they doing surgery on? Did they take the bullet out? Was the bullet still lodged in there?
uh, yeah, yeah. The bullet was in my head, so I don't know. I mean, I imagine they took the bullet out,
Yeah. So
and I then went into a coma. Um, as they finished and repaired my head, and then the next thing I know, weeks later,
how many weeks were you in a coma?
I think 2 or 3 weeks I
Okay.
was in a coma. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Um, but it was about that long. And when I woke up, I had no memory of what happened. I can't move the right side of my body. There was a feeding tube sticking out of my nose or my belly. I don't know which one. Um, um, I think both, because the one that was in my nose got infected, so I had to switch it to my belly. Um, and I lost every ability I had um, at that point.
So you couldn't feed yourself, you couldn't use your hands, you
I
couldn't.
mean,
So you were pretty much paralyzed from the neck down.
yeah,
Or actually, you couldn't talk either.
yeah.
So you were not even. Were you coherent? Did you hear people?
When I woke up, I was coherent, but I still didn't know what I was doing in the hospital while I
Yeah.
was in there
And you couldn't write things down because your hands weren't working.
because I didn't have the memory of learning how to spell.
Got it. So you had to go back to baby years
Yeah,
and redo everything as an adult, young man, not an
yep.
adult yet, but young man,
17 years old.
17 years old. And that's when you go through rehab.
Um,
I mean, after you're waking up in the hospital, you're kind of getting all this.
well, I somehow, after waking up a few weeks later, after realizing that I'm in a hospital and thinking to myself that when I was thinking about why I was in a hospital, I was thinking that I must have been in a car accident and the only one hurt or alive in that car accident. That's what I was doing in a hospital. So after waking up out of the coma weeks later, I ended up communicating to my mom some kind of way, whether it was through pen and paper or I communicated to her some kind of way. What am I doing in the hospital? Why am I here?
Yeah.
And she didn't want to tell me. So the next day, she sent in the surgeon to tell me. So the next day, the surgeon comes in and he says these words to me as I'm laying prostrate on the bed. Eric, I understand you want to know what happened to you. And all I can do is nod my head. Yes, I want to know. So he uttered these words to me and he said that, Eric, we found a bullet in your head. And right as he said the word bullet, instantly my memory came back and everything clicked. And I realized what I had done to
Yeah.
myself. And everything after that word bullet he was saying was blah, 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 blah. I don't know what he was saying. So again, I didn't know God before this, but I closed my eyes as he was talking in amazement. I closed my eyes and I was thinking, wow, wow, I just lived through that. No one lives through that. I
Sure.
mean, no one lives through that. So, as the surgeon and my mom went out to the hallway to talk and left me alone to process what I just learned. I remember closing my eyes again in amazement and wonder. And I was like, wow, I lived through that. And the first thoughts that came through my head was, man, I must be here for a reason. I must have a purpose in life that I'm still here. And I just got to figure out that purpose
Yeah.
for my life. And instantly, as I said that to myself, I hear, I kid you not, God strike me dead right now if I'm lying. I heard the voice of God say to me, Eric, you're here to share your life with young people in high schools. Poof, the voice of God was gone. I didn't hear from God again for many years until I got saved. Um, but with that, I want to share with you. Now I remember um, a guy would come into my room and talk to me about Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That I didn't know who he was, and I didn't know Jesus. So every time he would come into my room, I would kind of like close him off and look the other way and close my ears because he was talking about stuff I didn't know about. So um, he said to me who he was, and he explained himself as a good friend of my dad's, an old friend of my dad's that he's known for years. So that gave this guy, and his name was Dennis, credibility to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he also said his job, he was a pastor of a church out in Staten or Onfield.
So you have real specifics that
Yeah,
who this guy
yeah,
is.
yeah. And with that, we have family roots out in those areas of town. So I mean, him knowing my dad was possible.
Yeah.
I mean,
You didn't think anything of it. He's there
yeah,
to counsel you. Yeah.
credibility because he knew my dad.
And he's a pastor, so you're thinking he's here
Yeah.
to give you the word and tell you your
Yeah.
purpose, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know because I still didn't know Jesus.
Yeah.
Um, so
So he comes in, sees you, visits you.
yeah,
At this point, how long were you in the hospital until you started rehab?
I was in the hospital for probably like 2 months.
When you had 500, 600 visitors.
Oh yeah, I mean,
They wrote up an
that's
article on you.
another story.
Yeah.
Um,
It was in the Statesman Journal that you had 500 to 600 people coming in.
yeah.
I'm sure I was one of them.
Yeah.
And then is there a rehab close by back then? Where did you go to
No,
rehab?
I went home for the next couple months until I got strong enough to enter out or inpatient rehab. Um, so
But inpatient rehab was at the hospital or a retirement home or
it was across the street from the state hospital on Center Street.
okay, so you went to it.
It's no longer there now.
Okay,
But
so
it
there was a
hospital rehab.
okay, so you went there for how long?
I learned how to walk independently.
Feed yourself,
Yeah, I mean,
go to the restroom, do all the daily necessities there
pretty much.
as much as you can do.
Yeah. And then I was sent home sent home from inpatient rehab so I could enter outpatient rehab like 3 or 4 times a week. I would go into the rehab and do physical therapy, occupational therapy.
And are you still in a wheelchair at this point?
No,
You're
because
walking?
I walk
Yeah, okay.
pretty quickly.
Are you walking with a cane or just walking independently?
I'm walking independently. Yeah.
Okay. So you learned everything all over again pretty fast, it sounds like, within a year.
Except for my speaking ability.
Okay. So